Hello and welcome. My name is Eva Dunlap Lewis, and I'll be guiding you through your Communities Connect engagement platform training. Let's get started. As a reminder, I am using TSJG on my computer. I'm using TSJG Connect on my computer. So if you're watching with an iPhone or an iPad, what you see on my screen may look a little bit different from what you see on your screen. We know that by now the layout is slightly different depending on what device you're using, but I always think it's important to remind you. Also, all of these little icons that I see down the left side of the screen, these are for administrators. I have a different type of account access than residents do. So I get to see all these little icons, but you guys don't have to even worry about them. Does that make sense? Okay. I am making this recording as of May 17th, 2022. And it's important for me to say that because it will be a video available to you on your information cube. And if someone's watching this in the future, maybe, in December, they would say, Eva, you're all wrong. That's not what my cube looks like. And it would be true because at a certain point, more information will be added to all of these cubes. So what I'm showing you is how TSJG Connect looks on the dining menu and the committees cube as of today's date. I'm going to show you how these cubes operate. But if you're following along in the future, what you see on your screen may be a little bit different because TSJG Connect changes every day. It's a platform that we use to communicate between team members and residents, and thus it is constantly changing. All right, I think we're ready to go. I think that was all of my major reminders. Today we're talking about the committees cube and viewing the dining menu. And we're going to start with the dining menu because it can be viewed in two places. The dining menu is found not only on the dining page, the dining cube, but it's also found on the home page. From whatever device we are using, we can scroll down. Please be aware, if you're using the iPhone or the iPad, then you won't see this menu that I'm showing. Instead, you guys, iPhone and iPad users, will see two images, a lunch image and a dinner image. The lunch image is a sandwich. The dinner image looks like a nice little taco salad. It's making me hungry just looking at it. So viewing the menu is really mainly visible from the computer, the browser, or the Android version. If we want to see the menu on the iPhone or the iPad, then we would have to click or tap one of those images, either the sandwich or the taco salad. And that would take us to a screen very similar to what I see here. Now let's break this down. I'm first going to describe how it looks on an iPhone or an iPad. So what I'm describing now will not reflect this information up here, okay? iPhone and iPad users, if you're following along at this point from the home page, you have tapped on either the sandwich or the taco salad. And now you're looking at a screen where you see at the very top it says menu, and then you'll see the month and the year, which for us today is May 2022. Under that, you see S, M, T, W, T, F, S. What does that stand for?
The days of the week.
The days of the week: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So underneath those numbers, underneath those letters, you'll see the corresponding number to the date. And May is an easy one because Sunday was the 1st. Underneath that, you'll see lunch and dinner. Let's go back to those numbers though. And again, I'm not showing it on my screen up here. I'm just describing what iPhone and iPad users are seeing first. You guys, you could tap under one of those letters or hit one of those numbers and it would change the view of the menu, allowing you to go to a different day. So if you hit under T3 for Tuesday the 3rd, you could see a different day on that menu. You can also switch between hitting the word lunch to see the lunch menu and hitting the word dinner to see the dinner menu. Does anybody in here know how often are your dining menus updated? Looks like I start seeing blank days on Sunday. So maybe a week in advance. That's your cutoff date. You won't be able to see past that. So I don't know what day they're actually uploaded, but usually the maximum days ahead are 7 or 6. Now, those of you using the iPhone and iPad to get out of that screen, you can hit the word done in the top right corner. And you'll be taken back to the home page. Time for me to talk about what we see up here on the computer, Android, and browser version. I can see my menu from the home page. All I have to do is scroll down. I see the words dining menu. And then I see this left arrow. What does this arrow do?
It should be yesterday.
It'll show me yesterday. So what does this arrow do?
The next day, which is today.
And the next day, which since I hit yesterday, is today. So you can go back in time or forward in time using these arrows. We can also toggle, and I can switch between the meal using these filters up here. And the information will change. This is what the menu looks like when we view it from the home page. We can also, on the iPhone and the iPad and on the computer, we can find the dining cube, which is a green cube with a fork and knife. And we can click or tap on that cube and we're taken to the main page of dining. And we should see the same options that we see on the home page, depending on the device that we're using. For iPhone and iPad users, you'll go into the dining cube and you should see those icons that show you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you tap those icons, you'll be taken to a page where you can change the date at the top of the screen by touching the numbers underneath the letters to switch the day. But if you're using the web browser, the Android, or the computer version, then we see something like this, where we can change the menu day by using the back arrow to look at yesterday, the forward arrow to look at tomorrow. And typically menus are loaded about a week at a time. We can't see past Sunday as of right now. We can also toggle between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. iPhone and iPad users will have the same options to toggle between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Also on the dining page, if we scroll down, we're going to see more information. All of this text at the bottom of the page is clickable text, meaning if we click it or tap it, it will show us more information. We can click or tap the Bistro option right here, and it will reveal 3 attachments to us. iPhone and iPad users, when you click one of these options like Bistro Monday through Saturday 8 to 10 a.m., you'll be taken to a totally new page where you have the same 3 attachments, but instead of appearing in bold black text, they will appear in a blue text. We can click or tap any of these options. I'm going to go with the Bistro lunch menu. And it will take us to the page where we can view that attachment separately. As we know from previous trainings, we can zoom in, we can zoom out. And to get out of this attachment, we can hit the back arrow in the top left, or the word done for iPhone and iPad users. Those of us using the computer, Android, or browser version will have to just hit the back arrow once and it takes us back to this main page of dining where we can see all of our other options and attachments. But if you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you're going to have to hit the back arrow again in the top left corner to return to the main page of dining. The information available at the bottom of the dining cube will change over time, so please don't be surprised if when you're watching this in the future, there are different options for you here. We can repeat the process and see what else is under any of these other headers, like for Pete's Coffee Shop. These items do not have to be ordered in advance. They may just be grab and go. And we have two options, Pete's Grab and Go and Pete's Grocery List. Do you guys have a Pete's Coffee in TSJG?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Look forward to
iPhone and iPad users, when you click on this text from the main page of dining, you're taken to a whole new page where you get to see the same information and those two attachments. But unlike computer, Android, and browser users, you're on this totally new page. Whereas the rest of us, we can scroll up and we can see that we're still on the main page of dining. And if those computer, Android, and browser users want to see one of these attachments, we just have to click it or tap it, and we're taken right into it.
Where are they in here?
Where is this? Let me show you. I'm going to get out of this by hitting the back arrow. If you would like to see the Pete's Coffee Shop attachments from the home page, go into the dining menu, the dining cube. Scroll down and look for the option that says Pete's Coffee Shop. Go ahead and click it or tap it. And it will reveal the attachments. Once we see the attachments, we can click or tap them. And now we're viewing the attachment. Did that help answer your question, sir?
I'm sorry. Mine just opens up to today's menu again.
Scroll down to the bottom of your page.
There it is. I'm sorry.
And
Yes,
then, no, don't be sorry. That's how we learn. And then you'll click or tap where it says Pete's Coffee Shop.
Right.
And then you should see those two attachments. And you can click on either one of them to view the attachment. You can hit the back arrow or the word done in the top left or right, whichever one you see. If you're using the Cubigo application, then you'll need to hit the back arrow again to get back to the main page of dining. So it's important to keep an eye out and scroll to the bottom of the dining cube to see more information, including any attachments that your team members might have posted about dining services at TSJG. To get back to the home page, we'll click Home in the menu, which is either at the top of our screen or in the bottom left. And in our time remaining, let's talk about the Committees cube, which is a purple cube. When we see it, we can go ahead and click it or tap it. and we are taken to the main page of the Residence Committees cube. On this page, we're going to see various information about the committees offered at TSJG. As of today's date, the 17th of May, you guys have the Residence Council, the Neighborhood Ambassadors, the TSJG Foundation, Campus Life Committee, Safety Building and Grounds Committee, Dining Committee, Resident Forum, Fitness Committee, TSJG Resident Biographies A through D, TSJG Resident Biographies E through K, TSJG Resident Biographies L through O, TSJG Resident Biographies P through S, and TSJG Resident Biographies T through Z. This is kind of an interesting place to have those resident biographies. In the future, the resident biographies will be mainly found within the resident directory, which is on the information cube. But they're fine here for now. Quincy, is there a reason you chose to put these on there?
Yeah, I believe we have a committee that solicits resident self-written biographies, and then they're posted here.
And that's fine. You can keep it this way, absolutely. I understand why you did it this way, because you can't do like subcategories, and it'd be easier for someone to find a biography in A through D rather than, A through Z.
Yeah.
So I understand why you did it this way. And if it's a committee that leads this process, then by all means, leave it up this way. I'm going to go back up to this information. And again, this is how it looks as of today's date, May 17th, 2022. It may change over time. All of these items are clickable text, meaning if we click them or tap them, they will show more information. I'll start by clicking the Resident Council. And when I do that, I see Resident Council meeting minutes and PowerPoints. And then I see a whole mess of attachments. But they're very well organized, all by date. It looks like we can go pretty darn far back, all the way, and there's some bylaws in here. Looks like it goes back to June 2022. Wow. So all of these are attachments that you will see associated with the Residence Council. Once you see these attachments, if you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you can hit the back arrow in the top left to return to the main page of resident committees. If we're using the computer, Android, or browser version, we can just click or tap where it says Resident Council. And all of that information that had previously dropped down and became visible, after clicking that Resident Council, it kind of sucks back up into itself, right? It disappears. And that's the biggest difference between the devices that we're using, is that computer users, we could expand all of this information and see it all on the same page, right? I can click resident council and all of this information is expanded. And then I can still see my next option, which is the neighborhood ambassadors. I can click it and it shows me that on this one, there's only one attachment. Then I can click TSJG Foundation and I see lots of information and a few attachments. I could continue that process of clicking and scrolling here so that at some point I have every single committee expanded all on the same page. And iPhone and iPad users, you guys don't have that option. Anytime you click on one of these headers, it takes you to a new page where you can view the attachments separately. Are there any questions on that over there, Quincy?
No, I think we're okay. But can you highlight something for me while you're on here?
Sure.
So if you just scroll up just slightly up to the dining committee, right there, yeah, go ahead and click on that attachment there. So our dining committee recently have started to publish their own newsletter. This is like brand new recently. So this is a good place on where they would find that newsletter that the dining committee puts out. Plans for each month there.
Very cool. And we can scroll down and see that it's 2 pages. Yeah, so come check out the committees cube so that you can see the dining committee's new newsletter. This is awesome. Thanks for plugging this in, Quincy.
You're welcome. It's about a week old.
To get out of this attachment, iPhone and iPad users would hit the word done, usually in the top right or top left. The rest of us, we can hit the back arrow in the top left. And we're taken back to the main page of dining. But again, iPhone and iPad users, you guys have to hit the back arrow one more time in order to get back to the main page of dining. So usually on the committees cube, you're going to find information about all the committees available at your community. Information might be rosters, mission statements, forms, flyers, and meeting notes or minutes. Check back on this cube frequently for more updated information. As of right now, Quincy, what's the process for residents to get their committee information loaded onto this cube? Do they have to send it to you?
You know what? I will be 100% honest. I am not sure on how all this content gets up there and who's submitting it up there.
I would highly recommend that
Finding
you
out.
talk to finding out, yeah. But that you talk to whoever does manage this cube, and that in the header at the top, they put in some text that says like, this cube is managed by so-and-so. To add committee information, please email so-and-so, and it will be uploaded to the committee's cube. Just for a layer of transparency.
Yeah, absolutely.
For us and them.
Good question. You said there were forms. Can you get those forms in here?
I said that there might be forms. That's the kind of thing that you might have in an attachment. Forms are usually flyers or memos or letters, forms. Attachments are just meant to be viewed separately. So I don't know of any particular forms that are available on this committee cube. Maybe if a committee has a form process for collecting new members, it might be something that was on here, but it was more of a hypothetical rather than a directive. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. I do want to do a quick review of the news feed. So I'm going to leave this cube and go back to the home page, which we can get to easily by hitting home in our menu, either at the top of the screen or in the bottom left. We hit the word home. And we're taken back to the home page of TSJG Connect. Now, instead of the home page, let's go to the news feed, which is accessed by hitting the word news in the menu, either at the top of the screen like it is for me up here. I see news right here. And if you're using an iPhone or an iPad with the Cubigo app, then you would see news at the bottom of the page. So to see the news feed, we click or tap the word news in our menu. And is there anyone in here who can remind me what is the news feed? The news feed is where we're going to see important information posted by our community team members in the form of a single post. And the news feed is made up of several posts. Posts are organized by the newest at the top and older posts as we move down the page. Posts are usually designated with specific categories. So, like, I'll start at the bottom here. This one right here that I'm seeing on my screen, if you're watching this video in the future, our posts are going to be totally different. On my screen, this one says activities. That's the category. This one is activities. That's the category. Most of these are usually activities. Activities. But
May I ask a question here?
yes,
Like for that one in particular, bistro closure.
I would have thought that'd be dining.
Yeah, I want to say, I can tell you a dining team member did post that. So I'm curious to know why it would say activities, if that's a...
When that team member actually posts an item, they have the option and obligation to mark the category.
Okay, got it.
So they can choose the category that this falls under. And so this is the point that I'm trying to make salient to residents, is that posts are categorized. And we talked about this in the beginning of our training when we talked about the news feed. If we go to the top of the news feed, we see the word category, show all. And if we click or tap where it says show all, then we can see all these different categories that we can choose from. For instance, I might want to, instead of seeing all the categories, I might just want to see posts that are relevant to dining. And some posts do show up. So I think that what you were talking about, Quincy, might have just been an oversight on behalf of that team member, which it can happen.
The dining isn't the only news feed that was coming from activities. So I think that some people that are entering these
Posts.
news posts are not aware, because I think there was a buildings and grounds something that was under activities as well.
Yeah, I think the default is activities, because that comes first alphabetically. So they'll just create their news item and post it, and it just happens to land under activities.
In the future, we'd like it to be right, because it can be really helpful if we're trying to find a post that maybe we saw, we glimpsed, and we want to reference again, because we don't have to scroll through the entire news feed in order to find certain posts, as long as they're categorized correctly. So I'm just pointing that out and saying that that's how we want it, and that's how it will be, because this is a video and it's going to be released in June sometime. And I want those future viewers to have the hope and the understanding that team members will rectify that issue. So do you think you could talk to someone about that for me, Quincy?
Yeah, absolutely. Could I, in theory, go back and reclassify those?
I think so.
I think I can too. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay.
Can you do it?
I absolutely can.
Nice. Good. So maybe if I look at dining again soon, that bistro one will change.
Yes. So, yeah, absolutely it will.
Thank you, Quincy. See, he's our guy, guys. He's fixing it all. And I'm showing you this because one of the options, of course, is dining, which we're talking about today. And another one is committees. So we can see different information about those two cubes when we change the category on our news feed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. To get back to all, we'll just hit where it says show all. So we hit the category that we changed it to. In my case, it's committees. And I instead choose show all. And then it takes me back to all of the news feed. Are there any questions about this process or about the news feed before I close out our training? Okay, well, to get back to the home page of TSJG Connect, we'll hit home in our menu, which is either at the top of the page or at the bottom. Go ahead and tap home. And we return to the home page of TSJG Connect. Thank you so much for watching. Please rewatch if you need to, and I'll see you soon.